Hello, my name is Sunil Ramakrishna. Basically, we are discussing one of the topics that is city creation. In city creation, basically, we are discussing one of the topic that is this basically. That is this land basically. Nobody in this world basically can track. One of the person told that. Assume that basically one of the person told that uh, there are thousands of temples created, right? Basically, then he told that yes, basically. Sri Krishna first temple basically in world basically when it was created. So that was the first temple basically, which is controlling the entire Sri Krishna people basically. So who are basically believing the Bhagavad Gita's and Sri Krishna's what to say basically lectures and his bloods, his ideas. This all basically are this all basically are the Sri Krishna's group basically. So they basically are controlled by the peoples are basically controlling by that group basically. That is one thing basically. Nobody in this world basically can track basically that who is controlling the temples. That is not possible basically. Because it's controlled by nuclear power companies and the energy companies. And they are giving the data, and on the base of that basically the prasads are created, the sweets are created, the foods are created, the human needs are created. When you go basically to the temple basically, then there are lots of foods are also basically available. The foods basically you eat, like this basically things are there. So like these things are basically there basically. It's not like that basically everything basically happening automatically basically. From everything basically it's not happening by automatically. Everything is prepared basically. There only basically things are. So when the temples are created, lots of plans are basically done. According to plan only is the things basically works basically. It's not like that basically everything is happening like that. Everything is happening like that basically. It's not like that. So you can just imagine basically. So it's not like that basically everything is happening automatically. So to create one planet, sorry, to create one temple also basically it's lots of hard work are done. So this is basically planet basically. That also the one planet is integrating which thing is not supposed to integrate and which thing is supposed to integrate. That each and every things are also basically taken into picture basically. So if one temple creation is basically so much of tough basically, then you can just imagine how to tough basically. For example, one temple is created, so it's not like that basically they have created like that only basically. They have created thousands of areas basically, and that is basically containing in such thousands of cities basically. So before temple creation, lots of process basically are done by creating cities, by creating areas, by creating human souls basically. Same way basically, the France group has created. See basically, 1 lakh, 1 crore married done, then 10 crore human souls created. So it's not like that basically. They have created this basically just to create these words basically. So to create temple basically, how it tough would be to create this four word basically. It's so tough. So to create how the temples basically how it tough would be basically. So you can just imagine basically. So it's not easy basically. It's very tough. It's not easy basically to create any temple, create anything basically. So here one of the person France told that basically this basically when it's going to separate basically this land will get end basically, and this when this land will get end, this land will be independent, and then basically within just few millisecond basically the land will get merged also basically. So one of the person told that what is the way basically to escape from the world basically. That is also one of the person told that basically, because you can't say that basically you will reach here basically, and how basically you will know that this is that land basically which is going to separate. That is also question. How you will say that basically this is the land basically which you are staying basically, that is the land basically it's going to separate from the world, and rest of world will get and basically, and the separated land basically will be ours basically, and then basically the new world is going to create. So one of the person told that everywhere temples are there, everywhere church are there, everywhere mosque are there, and everywhere Parsi Agyaris are there, everywhere basically the temples are there, the Guru Nanak place basically, or the Gurudwara is there. Everywhere basically there. It's not like that basically the things are not there basically. God places are not there. But when world will end basically, that time basically everything is going to end basically. But this land basically will be separated basically. This much land basically is going to separate. This much land basically will be going to separate. And this much land basically, one of the person told that world basically has ended how many times basically? More than 100 and 200 and 3 times basically world has ended. But history basically automatically comes into the picture. That this person basically was there, this Shivaji group was there, then basically the Tipu Sultan was there, this was there, this was there, that was there. How basically that basically comes into the picture? Because world has already ended. That is this land basically which has separated. Na? They basically knows the history basically. Because 102 time basically when the world was ended, that time this land was separated basically. And this land basically when it was separated, that time they were basically connected with the rest of world basically. So like this they know the history. Otherwise basically if world will end basically the history also will get end. So how basically you are going to know the history basically? After dying basically anybody is going to know the history? No, that is not possible basically. That is not possible. So you can just imagine basically stuffs are very tough basically. To create the stuff basically is very tough basically. To create this many word basically, just see basically to create this word only basically France has taken basically 1,000 cities. So you can just imagine to create this paragraph basically how tough it would be. And this paragraph basically keeps on changing also basically. They keeps on changing the paragraphs. They keeps on changing the paragraph also basically. So one of the person told that there are many cities basically in this world. Na? One of the person told that basically this everything basically is normal public is not supposed to know basically. Because normal public will, if they will know that basically this type of stuffs are basically there, then their life basically will be nothing basically. They will always will be in tension basically when we will die, when we will die tomorrow, we will die tomorrow. That type of thing basically will happen. So this type of thing basically never comes into the picture only, and never basically comes into the book also basically. In books also basically nothing is written like that basically. That there is no like sun, there is no like moon. Moon basically, in books basically they have written like sun is there, moon is also basically there. But in real basically sun and moon does not exist basically. If public will know that basically there is no like moon, then basically what are, because everything basically in education basically they have already written that sun exists, moon exists. Now basically you can't change the education sector basically. Then basically the public will say that basically भाई ये सब क्या है, ऐसे ही लिखा है सब. Everything is basically education sector is basically like that only basically written everything. That basically the public are going to say. So you can just imagine basically the things basically. So one of the person told that it's not so easy basically. To create this 4 word basically it's so tough. So you can just imagine. So that's why basically the France told that we have to check this basically. Where is this land? For that basically he prepared one plan basically. That is earthquake plan basically. He created the earthquake plan. In earthquake plan basically he have the control of these 4 words, and on the 4 words basically he told that currently the word basically is going is this basically. In next video basically we are going to see that.